Hi, and welcome back to my series on how to use Microsoft Excel with NVDA or Non-Visual Desktop Access. In this video, I'm going to continue my discussion on working with formulas, and this time I'll be zooming in on relative references and also the hotkey on how to toggle uh, the show formula command. Okay, so here I have actually opened the workbook that I used in the previous video, and this is titled My Snack Bar, and I'll walk you through the contents of this workbook. So on cell A1, cell A1 has a label Ryan Snack Bar, and I can check it by pressing NVDA plus L.
Ryan Snack Bar.
I'll go down.
Week 1 sales overflowing A2.
So on A2 is week 1 sales. Another down arrow.
Description cropped A3.
So description is on A3. And A3 is the start of the column headers. So to the right of A3 are the other column headers. I'll press the right arrow.
Quantity B3.
Quantity on B3.
Unit price C3.
Unit price on C3.
Total D3.
Total on D3.
Profit E3.
And finally profit on E3. So these are the column headers. I'll press the home key to go back to the start of this row.
Description cropped A3.
And under description I have 3 items.
Sandwich A4.
Sandwich on A4.
Cassava cake cropped A5.
Cassava cake on A5.
Waffle A6.
And the last is waffle on A6. Now across these row headers are the corresponding number of items sold or quantities sold per item, and also the unit price. Now on D5 I'll be going to column D and check for the contents there of cells D4 to D8. So here, since I'm on row 6, I'll just be pressing right arrow until I reach D6.
37 D6 15 C6 unit price. 555 as formula D6 total.
So 555 is the amount or the total sales of waffle on week 1, and I'll press up arrow.
450 as formula D5.
450 for cassava cake.
576 as formula D4.
576 for sandwich. And I'll check the components of each formula by pressing the F2 key or the edit mode.
Edit D4 C4.
And I'll press the home key to go to the start of the formula.
Equals B4 start C4.
So here the formula has equals B4 times C4. And this also is the same pattern for D5 and D6. Since I'm not going to change anything on this formula, I just press the escape key.
Week 1 sales table 576 as formula D4.
And I'll press down arrow.
450 as formula D5.
Now to show the formula instead of the amount or the output, I can toggle the show formula hotkey, which is Control plus grab. Now the grab key is the key below the escape key, and I'm going to press Control plus grab, and now I'm going to check by pressing NVDA plus L.
D5 C5.
Instead of reporting the amount, it is now reporting the cell references, which are B5 times C5. Okay. Now to go back to the amount, you just need to press the same hotkey, Control plus grab. Okay, I'm going to press down arrow.
D6 C6 as formula D6.
So here it's still formulas, that is being shown, not the amount. So B6 times C6. Now on D7,
D4, D5, D6 as formula D7.
so here on D7, I inputted equals D4 plus D5 plus D6. So this is the addition equation to find the sum of the uh, of, of the contents of D4, D5, and D6. I used the addition or the plus sign and use the cell references. Now on D8, I use a different formula here.
Sum D4 colon D6 as formula D8.
So it says here sum D4 colon D6. So this formula uses the sum function, and it has equals sum open parenthesis D4 colon D6 close parenthesis. Okay. Now I'm going to toggle the control plus grab to display back the amount. And to check, I can press NVDA plus L.
1581.
So again, the amount here is the amount is being displayed, not the formula. So you have 1,581 as the total sales on week 1 for the 3 items. I press up arrow.
1581 as formula D7.
So this is the same amount since both formulas are the formulas on finding the sum. Now I decided that I will add another row here. So I'll press the home key to go to cell A7.
A7 description.
A7 description. Now I decided that I will insert a row above D6. I press up
Waffle
arrow.
A6.
So A6 I mean. So on A6, if I insert a row here, then I will be having a new row 6. So to do this, I can activate the application key to simulate the right click,
Cut key.
and the first item here is cut. I'll press down arrow and look for insert.
Copy C. Paste special unavailable list. Insert I.
Now I'm going to press enter to activate the insert item.
Insert dialog. Insert. Shift cells down radio button. Check Alt D.
So here is the insert dialog box, and within this dialog box are the options on what to insert. So the first one is
Entire row radio button. Shift cells down radio button. Check Alt D.
shift cells down, and I just press up arrow, down arrow to go through the other items.
Entire row radio button. Check Alt R.
It's entire row. So this is what I'm looking for, but before activating this, I'll go through the other options.
Entire column radio button. Check Alt C.
So I also have entire column.
Shift cells right radio button. Check Alt I.
Shift cells right, so meaning inserting cells to the right.
Shift cells down radio button. Check Alt D.
Shift cells down, inserting cells down or below the active cell.
Entire row radio button. Check Alt R.
And here is again the entire row. So I'm going to press enter here.
Microsoft Excel My Snack RxLSX Week 1 Sales Table A6.
Now I have a new row, and this is the new row 6. Now I'll check what happened to the original row 6.
Waffle A7.
Waffle goes down by a notch, and it goes down to row 7. I press up arrow.
A6.
So here on row 6, I'll be inputting another item, and this is the donut.
Edit description. O-N-U-T.
So it's donut. To check, I can press NVDA plus M.
Donut.
NVDA reported donut. And I'll press
Donut
tab.
Week 1 Sales Table D6 quantity.
Quantity would be
Edit 5.
53. So 53 pieces of donut were sold on week 1, and I'll press
3
tab.
Week 1 Sales Table C6 unit price.
Unit price is 15 pesos,
Edit 1. 5.
and I'll press tab.
5 Week 1 Sales Table D6 total.
Now here I'm to get the total sales for donut, I need to input the formula. But instead of inputting the component, or instead of typing the components of this formula, I just need to copy the formula on D5.
450 as formula D5.
Now here, the formula on D5 has uh, the amount, which is
450.
450, and to check the components, I can press the F2.
Edit B5 C5.
NVIDIA reported that the components are equals B5 times C5. I'll press the escape key.
Week 1 sales table 450 as formula D5.
And now I'm going to copy the component, the formula, by pressing Ctrl plus C. And I'll press down arrow.
D6.
On D6, I'm going to paste the formula which I copied from D5.
795 as formula D6.
Now NVIDIA reported a different amount, which is 795. And to check what happened, I can press or activate the edit mode using F2.
Edit B6 C6.
And I'll press the home key to go to the start of the formula.
Equals. B6 star C6.
Now what Excel did was to adjust the cell references. Now from D5, I copied the formula that has B5 times C5 as cell references, but here Excel adjusted it to B6 and C6. Now this is what Excel called as the relative references. Now instead of copying the same cell references from the original cell, Excel adjusted it to different cell references to display a different result. So this is what Excel is doing. It uses the relative references and made a logical thing by adjusting the cell references. So here the amount is 795, and since I will not be changing the content here, I'll just need to press the escape key.
Week 1 sales table 795 as formula D6.
Now I'm going to check cells D7 and D8. Both of these cells are contain the formulas on finding the sum or finding the total sales. I'm going to press down arrow to go to cell D7 and D8.
555 as formula D7. 1581 as formula 555 as formula D7. 1581 as formula D8.
Okay, since I inserted a row, the D7 has gone down to, or goes down to D8, and D8 goes down to D9. So
2376 as formula D9.
now check D8.
1581 as formula D8.
Now D8 has the same amount, which is 1,581. However, D9
2376 as formula D9.
has changed. So earlier it was 1,581. Now it's 2,376. And let me check on that by pressing NVDA plus L.
2376.
Okay. So what happened here was that Excel also adjusted the cell range. Okay. So earlier the cell range of this formula was D4 colon D6. Now after inserting another row, Excel adjusted the formula to D7. Now to check that, I can activate the edit mode by pressing F2.
Edit sum D4 colon D7.
And I'll press the home
Equals.
key. Now I'm going to check the components of this formula.
S U M left parent E 4 colon E 7 line feed.
Okay, so earlier it was D4 colon D6, but because there was an inserted row and inserted cell on D, uh, Excel also adjusted this formula, and the cell range is now D4 to D7, D4 colon D7. I press the escape key.
Week 1 sales table 2376 has formula D9.
I press up arrow.
1581 has formula D8.
Now on D8, the amount did not change. I'll check the components by pressing the F2.
Edit D4 D5 D7 equals D4 plus D5 plus D7.
Now what happened here is that Excel adjusted the cell. Now earlier it was D4 plus D5 plus D6. Since D6 moved down to D7, Excel also adjusted this cell reference to D7. However, the amount did not change, and Excel did not add another cell reference here, which is D6. It only adjusted the cell reference, and the result is still the same, because the added row was on row 6, and the added cell was on D6. Take note here, there is no D6. So earlier the formula was D4 plus D5 plus D6, and Excel adjusted it to D7 since column 6 moved down to column 7. Now since I'm not going to change anything here, I just need to press the escape key.
Week 1 sales table 1581 has formula D8 R.
Now I'm going to add data and add another row. So I'm going to press the home key to go back to the start of the row. I'll press up arrow.
Waffle A7.
Now here I'm going to insert another row. I'm going to simulate a right click by pressing the application key,
Cut key.
and I'm going to press down arrow.
Copy C. Paste special. Insert I.
Now I'm going to activate insert.
Insert dialog. Insert. Shift cells down radio button. Check Alt E.
Now here's the insert dialog box. I'll press down arrow.
Entire row radio button. Check Alt R.
So since I'm going to add another row, I'll press enter here.
Microsoft Excel My Snack Bar XLSX. Week 1 sales table A7.
So there's a new row, and this is row 7, and the row 7 earlier moved down to row 8. So here I'm going to type Munchkin as my new product or new item,
Edit M U N C H K I N.
and I'll press tab to go to column B.
Munchkin. Week 1 sales table B7 quantity.
So here I'm going to type 94.
Edit 9 4.
94 pieces of Munchkins were sold on week 1, and I'll press tab to go to C7.
4. Week 1 sales table C7 unit price.
And each Munchkin costs 7 pesos, so I'll type 7,
Edit 7.
and I'll press tab to go to D7,
Week 1 sales table D7 total.
and I'm going to copy the formula on D8
555 has formula D8.
by pressing Ctrl plus C, and I'm going to paste it on D7. Press up arrow.
D7.
Here I'm going to paste using Ctrl plus V.
658 has formula D7.
And NVIDIA reported the amount, the total amount for Munchkin, which is 658 pesos. Now this time I'm going to check cells D9 and D10, okay, by pressing down arrow.
555 has 1581 has formula D9.
Now D9 is or has 1,581 as the amount, and I'll check the components of the formula. I'll press the F2 key.
Edit D4 D5 D8 equals D4 plus D5 plus D8
Now earlier it was D4 plus D5 plus D7. Since D7 moved down to D8, Excel adjusted it to D8. So the formula now is equals D4 plus D5 plus D8. And still D6 and D7 are not included in the cell references of this formula. So the formula still display the same amount, which is 1581. And since I will not be changing anything on this formula, I'll press the escape key.
Week 1 sales table 1581 as formula D9.
On D10, I'll press down arrow.
3034 as formula D10.
Now the amount is changed and it's now 3034, and I'll check the components of this formula by pressing the F2 or the edit mode.
Edit sum D4 colon D8.
Press the home key to go to the start of the formula.
Equals S U M left pair D4 colon D8 line feed.
Now the formula is changed. Although the function is still the same, it's the sum function, but the cell range is different. So earlier it was D4 colon D6, and when I inserted another row, it changed to D4 colon D7. Now with the addition of another row, the cell range is D4 colon D8. And with this, finding the sum, the Excel displayed a different amount, which is 3,034 pesos.
Week 1 sales table 3034 as formula D10.
Now with this, I hope you learned something. I just discussed relative references and also the hotkey on how to show formula. Now the hotkey again is Control plus Grab to show formula instead of the amount. Now it's a toggle command, so pressing it again will bring you back to the amount or the output. Thank you for watching, and until next time, see you and God bless us all.